Shalom is real. All praises, honor, and glory goes to whom it rightfully belongs, which is Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kwadash, for allowing me to do another lesson. Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, and is no God beside them. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of a great millstone for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit, and salutations to the elect, whom the Lord have given ears to hear. All right, and I want to land back off of the elder brother Zakar's lesson. Watch and be edified, subscribe and be edified. The brother's page is entitled GMS until elect is sealed. All right, he does great lessons. Check him out. Now I'm gonna play the video he played, and then we're gonna get some scriptures backing it up. All right, this man is a freak, right? And like the brother said, after he played the video, this is not surprising, but as it is written, going to the time of the end, and knowledge shall be increased. Okay, so now it's not just a he said, she said, oh, it's just your hatred for the white man. All right, this is coming from a personal, this is coming from a person that's in that world, and on all aspects, right? Like the brother said, all of E's organization, not just the military, but in the music industry, all right? In all industries that this devil is a part of, at that top echelon, you got to do some foul, freaky shit. Because this man is a freak. A freak of nature. That's what he is.
Someone on TikTok told me about this interview from a woman who's married to a man who was high in the military. One day he got drunk and just spilled the beans. And the military is so salacious. It's debauchery. She exposed how the military was having its own FOs. This was a 1998 interview. She also talks about why they don't allow women and Black people in special operations. Check this out.
Your name is Catherine Pollard Griggs?
Yes.
You are the wife of Colonel George Griggs?
Yes.
Love you. It's true that your husband has been the head of special operations under Admiral Kelso, NATO?
Yes.
And in fact, your husband was an alcoholic.
Absolutely.
And probably to this day.
Absolutely.
And during these drunken stupors, he would, so to speak, blab on and tell you everything he knew about the intelligence community. By your association with him, you have come to understand and know that, as shocking as this may sound to the people who are viewing this, that the United States military is literally run by sexual deviants heavy on the homosexual side.
Truly.
And that in the United States military, people like Jeffrey Dahmer and Kaczynski and McVeigh and Oswald and a host of other people who have a sexual deviant background, primarily homosexual, these individuals are actually sought out by people within the military, the Army, for advancement into intelligence type work because they are so easy to control. Yes. And they actually become mind slaves, and that the U.S. military, literally, as outrageous as it sounds, is a mind control operation.
So that's why they don't have any women in special operations, because that's why they don't have any African Americans. They're too honest.
Okay, now as these generals, over the period of years, this is consolidated to where they're all part of this club. Is your conclusion, based on what you know from your husband's revelations, reading his diaries, and this sort of thing, is there anybody in the U.S. military, the Army and Marines, anybody in the level of your generals and your colonels? Is there anybody who would not be in this club?
There's nobody who doesn't know, and I would put money in the bank on this. Is not a party to this. Is not a. Once they get that bird, Colonel, they go through an initiation ceremony.
What's the initiation ceremony like?
They get them drunk. Dining in, shellback. He told me.
Shellback?
Shellback. They
What's that mean?
Anal sex. But they get them really drunk. The guys who are that way do it. It's a group situation thing. And I was told by two colonels who said, it's normal, Peg. This is just what we do in battle,
This is just good old boys?
This is just what we do, Peg.
They get drunk and they
get drunk and they ejaculate. They beat each other off. It's awful.
All right, Shalom.
This is the book of the prayer of Azariah, chapter 1, verse 8. All right, and hey, we desperately need a savior. All right, the Lord told us from the very beginning that we shouldn't do various things, because that was the things that the nations around about us were doing. Right, and one of those things that He told us not to do is that you should not lie with mankind as you lie with womankind. It is an abomination. All right, and who are the nations round about us? All right, you can find that in Exodus 15 and right. So in Exodus 15, this is called the Song of Moses, and this pretty much speaks on how the enemies were afraid when they heard about what the Lord did for us. Right, so it speaks on Exodus 15 and 13. Thou in thy mercy hast led forth the people which thou hast redeemed. Thou hast guided them in thy strength unto thy holy habitation. The people shall hear and be afraid. Sorrow shall take hold of the inhabitants of Palestina, right? And these were the nations that were round about us. Actually, when you go into the book of Deuteronomy, as well, I want to say us also Numbers. It speaks on the different heathen that we had to pass by. Deuteronomy, the 2nd chapter, if I'm not mistaken, speaks on how Edom was one of which that we had to pass by. So it says, then the dukes of Edom shall be amazed, the mighty men of Moab trembling shall take hold upon them, all the inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. All right. So again, when we talk about the aspect of Momo behavior, we know that that's something that these nations were heavy into. Okay. I mentioned the precept, but I want to grab it. Let me see if I can find it. Right. This is Deuteronomy 12 and 30. Call all Yahweh Shimi Yahweh Shai. It says, let me start at 29. When Yahweh thy power shall cut off the nations from before thee, which thou goest to possess them, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, and then it say if, it say when. Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them, after that they be destroyed from before thee. And that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so until Yahweh thy power, for every abomination to the Lord, which he hateth, right? Again, Leviticus 18 and 20. The Lord said that was an abomination. Have they done unto their gods? For unto their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods. So there you go. The Lord expects us to be holy. Let's go over to Joel chapter 3. Well, actually, you know what? Let's grab this. This is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 32 and 28 in the NLT. But Israel is a senseless nation. The people are foolish without understanding. Oh, that they were wise and could understand this. Oh, that they might know their fate. How could one person chase 1,000 of them, and two people put 10,000 to flight, unless their rock had sold them, unless Yahweh had given them up? But the rock of our enemies is not like our rock. So the God of our enemies, which are really no gods, is not as Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, as even they recognize. All right. again, that what the Lord did for us, they were so shocked, coming out of Egypt and the Lord splitting the sea. They was, they were even shocked. The Lord put a difference between him and their so-called gods. Hey, when the kingdom come, even the nations again the nations are again going to learn how special we are. It tells us that in Psalms 126. But reading on, their vine grows like the vine of Sodom from the vineyards of Gomorrah. And we know the sin of Sodom and Gomorrah. Right? So these other nations, all right, Esau being included, the so-called white man, right, is of the vine of Sodom. Right? He grows from a wicked branch. Their grapes are poison and their clusters are bitter. All right? This place, what it creates, what it grows, what it stands for, what it stands on, i.e. the blood of Israel, is all of wickedness. Okay? It says, their wine is the venom of serpents, the deadly poison of cobras. Right? And we know who that serpent is. So, yeah, don't. Hey, this place is not our rest. This place is filth. And no matter how much you like it here, this place is saturated in wickedness. It tells us that in Revelation 18. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Right? So Jerusalem going up, these nations is going down. And I will plead with them for my people and for my heritage Israel, chiefly the elect in these times, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they may drink. All right, and it's you can couple this with Revelation 11, how when we went down, the nations sent gifts one to another. All right, so these sick devils was doing that to our young men and our young women. I mean, they was doing our young princesses dirty too. But the point stands that these devils are wicked and they are sodomites. Yeah, and what have ye to do with me? And if you ever work around Esau, you know the type of wicked ass, gay ass shit they like to play. I was on this one job one time where we was all, standing around, and I was with my other coworkers, standing around organizing some material, and as one Edomite comes around and slaps everybody on the ass. I looked at him like, yo, don't even try that shit with me. Well, that's what they do. They joke about, wife don't give me none, guess I have to get it from the dog. That's what these devils do. Man, it's we got to take this punishment in strides, man, because this is some you kind of get pissed off, but the Lord warned us what would happen if we turn against him. Right? This is the prayer of Azariah chapter 1 verse 7. Start at 5. Man, let's start at the top. And they walked in the midst of the fire, praising God and blessing Yahweh. Then Azariah stood up and prayed on this manner, and opening his mouth in the midst of the fire, said, Blessed art thou, O God of our fathers. Thy name is worthy to be praised and glorified forever. That's Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. Yahweh, which is coming in the power, or he's coming back through his son, Yahweh Shai, to deliver us. For thou art righteous in all things that thou hast done to us. Yea, true are all thy works, thy ways are right, and thy judgments truth. Okay? Because we reneged on the contract. So, because we reneged on the contract, we had to pay the penalty associated with it. And you can find the penalties written up in Deuteronomy 28 and 15 on down. And all the things thou hast brought upon us and upon the holy city of our fathers, even Jerusalem, thou hast executed true judgment. For according to truth and judgment didst thou bring all these things upon us because of our sins. For we have sinned and committed iniquity, departing from thee. And in all things have we trespassed, and not obeyed thy commandments, nor kept them, neither done as thou hast commanded us, that it might go well with us. Wherefore, all that thou hast brought upon us, and everything that thou hast done to us, thou hast done in true judgment. Right? And this goes back to the book of Daniel, the 3rd chapter, when Nebuchadnezzar had put the Daniel's 3 friends, Azarias, Ananias, and Misael, into the fiery furnace for not bowing down to him. It says, and thou didst deliver us into the hands of lawless enemies. All right. Now he was talking about the Assyrians, where the scriptures call them the rod of the Lord's anger. All right. But you could liken that into today as well, because these people are lawless. Right. A place that upholds momos and dogs over you, an Israelite, is a lawless society. Hey, a place that would lock you up for passing judgment, on an adulterer. That's a lawless enemy. And we can go on and on about how this place is lawless. All right. It says, hey, they push harlotry. A woman being over a man. They push you got all types of religions here. That's lawlessness. They claim this place is the God, the what is it, the law of the land. Let me look that up actually. Is I would be shocked if they said no. Oh, they do. Okay. The Bible is not considered the law of the land. The law is the U.S. Constitution. Well, we already knew that. I mean, but my thing is, why does All right, so let me see one more thing. There was one more thing. You know, you get. So they say the Bible is not the law of the land, so I stand corrected. Nevertheless, you know, when it comes to oath, they damn sure hold that Bible up. Let me see something real quick. Why is it tradition to make a person hold the Bible when under oath? Guess that's the right way to put it. Right? So it's a tradition, but it's not law. All right? Nevertheless, this devil orchestrates a lawless land. You know, a land that can, you know, allow a woman to be a whore, you know, again, ridicule a man for passing judgment on an adulterer or an adulteress. That's a lawless land. You know, a land where you can be a Satanist. Hell, a land that you can be an atheist and not get penalized. That's a lawless land. Okay? And hey, this land is created to be destroyed. All right, from day one, because we know how this land was brought about. It was brought about through rape, robbery, and murder. Okay? But now let's go back to did we finish that Joel 3? Right? So it says, yeah, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Sidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head. Right? Because these nations going into slavery. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians. All right? Because these nations, they pass us around like a hot potato, like a hot commodity rather. Right? Because Jake, even to this day, when Jake is under your thumb, they make your rulership better. Our people are, very highly ingenuitive. It says the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Okay? And we know about the Atlantic slave trade, how these Hamites sold us into, these Edomites, the Dukes of Edom, Amalek, the so-called Jews. And here we are today, to this very day. And then when you look at how it is in Africa, all right, you still got our people over there, but their national language is that of the European settler. Okay. Yeah, man. So this devil gotta go, man. This devil gotta go with the quickness. Is there one more? Let me see. Psalms 9:16. The Lord is known for his justice. The wicked are trapped in their own deeds. The wicked will go down to the grave. This is the fate of all nations who ignore God. But the needy will not be ignored forever. The hopes of the poor will not always be crushed. All right. And Revelation 13:9 spells out our hope. All right. For this devil to get paid back how he paid us. All right. And it's not going to be on no Momo or lawlessness, but it's going to be recompense all the wickedness nonetheless. You know, I don't know if they still got it open, but there's a museum, a famous museum actually in Baltimore called, let me see, it's the Blacks Wax Museum. Okay, it's called the Great Blacks in Wax Museum. Yeah, so I would, play a video, but I know it can get pretty explicit, so you could check that out on your own. But with that, shalom to the elect.